Welcome to our tutorial on React props and component communication. We'll dive into the core concept of React components first, understanding how they help us build reusable UI elements. Then we'll explore props. These are like the parameters that allow one component to pass data or instructions to another. Next up, passing data with props. Think of it as sharing a meal. Just like you can share food from your plate, components can share information through props. We'll also discuss prop types for validation, ensuring our props are correctly formatted, like making sure everyone follows the rules at dinner time. Finally, we'll cover advanced techniques such as lifting state up to manage shared data between multiple components, much like how you might decide on a single menu item for an entire group during a meal out. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into the heart of React applications, components. Think of them as Lego blocks where you can build your entire app piece by piece. There are two types: functional components, which are simpler and use JavaScript functions, and class-based components, which involve more complexity but offer flexibility. The magic happens when these components talk to each other through props. Props act like a message passing system. They allow data, like text or images, to flow from parent components down to child components. For example, if you have a parent component that needs to pass an image URL to its child, it does so using the prop syntax. This way, your app can dynamically change and update based on user interaction or other events. Happy coding! Welcome to our tutorial on understanding props in React. Imagine you have a parent component that needs to pass some information down to its child components, like the color of text or an event handler function. Props are perfect for this. Here's what you need to know. They're read-only and immutable, which means once a prop is passed, it can't be changed from inside the child component. Think of them as a one-way data flow going from parent to child. For example, if your parent component needs to pass a color value down to its children, you simply define this in the props object. So, say we have a parent that passes a prop called color, and our child component can use it like. This way, props are used for data, events, or any other information a component needs. It's all about passing down information to keep your components clean and focused. Welcome to our discussion on passing data between components using props in React. Let's break down this code snippet for parent component and child component. Here, the parent component is directly sending a prop named color with the value blue to the child component. This demonstrates how parent components can pass values like strings or even more complex objects to their child components, enabling dynamic content updates. For example, you could replace blue with any color name or variable to change the appearance of your component dynamically based on state or props from other parts of your application. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into the world of prop types for validation in React. This is super important to ensure your components receive the right kind of props and avoid unexpected errors. With prop types, you can specify the exact types of data that should be passed as props. For example, if a component needs an array of objects, you'd use to define what each object inside the array must contain. And for simple type checks like strings or numbers, just use. By validating your props this way, you make your code more robust and easier to maintain. Happy coding! Welcome to our tutorial on using prop types in React. As you know, props are the way components communicate with each other. They're like passing notes between friends. But what if we want to make sure those notes are always in the right format? That's where prop types come into play. Let's take a look at this code snippet. First, we import prop types from prop types. Then, for our child component, we set up some rules. The color prop must be a string and it can't be empty, so .is required is there to enforce that. For items, it needs to be an array of numbers. This way, when you pass props like color, blue, items, 1, 2, 3, React will warn you if something goes wrong. It's like having a smart friend check your homework before submission. Welcome back, everyone. In this advanced tutorial, we're diving into lifting state up, a powerful technique in React for managing shared state. Essentially, it allows us to keep track of important data like user authentication within the parent component, rather than passing props down through multiple levels of nested components. To make this easier, you can use Context API. For instance, imagine you have a login form and a dashboard page. By lifting the auth state to their common parent, Both can access it without prop drilling. This keeps your code clean and manageable, especially as your application grows more complex. Alright, let's dive into an example of lifting state up in React. Here we see our parent component wrapping child component with user context. Provider. This means the parent is managing the user state and passing it down to its child. So, if you look at this line here, notice how the parent sets the context value directly. In real scenarios, your user data might come from an API or local storage. The key takeaway is that by lifting state up and passing it down through props, we can manage shared state more effectively across components. This approach keeps our code organized and makes state management a lot less headache-inducing. Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're wrapping up our discussion on React props and component communication. Key takeaways are as follows. Props are read-only, essentially like passing data from parent to child components, like a teacher giving you homework. To ensure your homework is correct, use prop types for type validation. If multiple components need the same piece of state, try lifting it up to their common ancestor. Lastly, the Context API allows sharing state across the entire component tree, similar to how a class might share notes with different groups in a school. That's everything. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more React tutorials.